Good morning, everybody. I'll be glad when this ordeal is all over, not least for these video things, but there are signs of hope for the church at least. We had another PCC meeting by the internet this week. Again, there was a fine display of COVID haircuts and some members pretending to drink what looked like orange squash. Yes, we believe you. But we also discussed the big question, which was how to reopen our churches. And it looks like churches can be reopened from Sunday the 5th of July, which is good news. But I did note that during the discussion, the attitude to reopening split into broadly two groups of people. There were those who were saying, oh, for heaven's sake, just get on with it. And others who were a bit more cautious and a bit more health and safety. And indeed, if you read the official church guidance on what you have to do to make sure church is a safe and secure place, you'd probably never open the building at all. And I think our attitude to whether the church should be open or not will also depend a little on our current experience of the lockdown. I consider myself very lucky. I'm able to go into work, I talk to people, I see family, and in many respects, there's not a great deal of change. But I also know that there are other people who are much more isolating and who are feeling the loneliness that comes from a lack of normal social contact. And I think it's important that church does come back, because a church without meeting, a church without that community, is barely a church at all. And of course today is Trinity Sunday. Now this is a Sunday on which I would be usually very glad to avoid church, because who enjoys preaching about the mystery of the Holy Trinity? I spent 8 weeks, I seem to remember, of my theology degree studying the doctrine of the Trinity, and I don't think there's a clear answer or an easily comprehensible answer to it anyway. However, it is still the most important image we have, the most important reflection of truth we have of how to understand our God. And so we do have a day every year for the Trinity. And of course, some churches, i.e. INRAE, are named after the Trinity. And whilst there's no time to go into, you'll be very relieved, I'm sure, the doctrine, I'd just like to extract one significant explanation, one understanding of the Trinity, which is that God is a community in himself. God is not some solitary, splendid being existing in isolation, and for most people in lockdown, God is a community. So there is the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit, and these three are real persons who are bound together in one being, a community bound together by love, joined by love, and acting in love. So God does know what it is like to have other persons around, to be in a community, and how important that is. And I think that's why the Christian message stresses community and love and the closeness of human beings together in worship and in service. So Trinity does tell us a lot about being together and church reopening. But there are still several problems. How do we make sure that when we come back on July the 5th, our church is safe? There are questions about how clean the building is. There are questions about whether we can touch hymn books and leave the hymn books when we go. There are questions about how to do communion with 2 metre distancing. How on earth do we get the elements of the bread and the wine into the communicant? Well, it's fortunate really that the wafers are around circles of pressed wheat, because with a bit of practice I'm pretty sure that I can do a frisbee type action, and on a good day 9 out of 10 might reach the mouth of the person who's 2 metres away. It will be different. It may be also appropriate for us to wear these things, and I'm very grateful to Sue, one of my parishioners, who created this mask for me, which is a mask with an attached dog collar. But I don't know about you, but it's sometimes a bit sinister to see somebody dressed in a mask like that, and even to make out what they are saying. So for the next few weeks, we will be considering how to make church safe, how we can worship God to the best of our abilities in a difficult situation like that. But of one thing, be assured, just as God is community in himself and lives and exists in that community, so the church is a community, and as soon as is possible, we will be back. Amen.